Boom, we're live. Hey, we are doing a collaboration today with the La Llave podcast.
La Llave.
I'm Eric Humes. This
La
is
Llave.
Adam Short.
That's fun to say. We just
And we're waiting for our host.
Almost.
Yes.
Close. This is the closest we've gotten.
Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Connecting.
There we go.
All right, we're on.
Hey.
Hey!
Hold on.
Sorry, Adam doesn't do Zoom meetings, so we had to
I
give him
do.
some tutorial. Jonathan, looking good.
Hold on.
It's on your headphones. Jonathan, can you hear us okay?
Hold on. Microphone speaker. All right. You there?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Dude,
Perfectly now, yeah.
Yay!
I totally feel like one of those goofy people trying to do Zooms on the internet right now.
Oh, I always feel that way. It used to be my co-host that used to do like all the Zoom stuff, and then now that I'm by myself now, my husband's the one that needs to help me with the Zoom calls.
K-Dicha.
You
Enjoy
know
it.
how to record, right?
Yeah, so I had to YouTube it earlier. This is our first time doing a Zoom recording.
Oh, yay!
So-
Word.
So I see you also use a Mac, right?
Yes, correct.
So when you record, it goes straight to GarageBand, or do you just?
It goes to your desktop.
Oh, okay.
And then you convert it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
So just make sure that you hit record.
He did. You have to give him permission. Is there
Oh my gosh. How do I grant you permission?
otra vez? Lo hagamos. Ahí se ve?
Unless you want me to record it, then I can just send it to you guys.
Ya está bien.
¿Está bien?
See, now you're just showing off, dude.
Para que sepa.
Man, we really appreciate you doing this. This is awesome.
Of course.
Our first collaboration.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy. Okay. Let me know when you guys want to start recording, okay? And I'll hit record.
We're ready whenever.
Yeah, we're ready.
I mean, this is good.
So, Joelle, is it easier for him to talk in English and then you want me to speak in Spanish, or?
Dude, that's going to take forever.
No, I mean, like, yo puedo hablar con ella en español y ella puede hablar con usted en inglés.
Whatever is best for you guys.
You know,
It's your podcast, so I'm gonna roll with your punches.
well, we just try to keep people laughing in our podcast. We just try to keep things rolling. So, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hit record. Let's get this show started.
Yeah, let's do
Booyah.
it. Let's do it. So I don't even think we need our mics. Do
No.
we?
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Adam loves them,
That's
though.
awesome. No.
Yeah.
No. I feel like I'm eating an ice cream cone.
So you guys go ahead. Let's get started.
All right.
Okay, it's like I'm trying to take control. Like if it's my podcast, I'm sorry.
No,
It's great.
either way.
So,
Either way.
yeah, so Joelle, how did you get started podcasting? Let's start with that.
Sure. So I started about 2 years ago. I work in the corporate field and then accounts payable. And
Exciting.
One day I would get in trouble for talking too much and making people laugh all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start my own podcast so I can talk whenever and as long as I want. So that's kind of what started the podcast going on. And I always feel like there's so much like negative media going on and stuff like that. So I just wanted somewhere positive that people can just channel in for a good laugh and just positivity. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where La Llave came from.
And then, and how did you come up with, or on the basis of having mixture of culture of both, Spanish and English. How did that come into play?
Right. So I'm Mexican American. So.
Well, are you American Mexican or Mexican American? There's a difference.
What's the difference?
Is there a difference?
Yeah, the difference is so if you're Mexican American, that means you naturalized to the United States. If you are Mexican heritage, that means you are a second generation American or a third generation American, but means your parents still speak culturally, Joelle, we would know. If I went into your home and you're, and I'm speaking Spanish, si estoy hablando con sus padres y ellos, se gusten hablar en español y casi no entiende o casi no habla, entiende perfectamente, pero entiende inglés, entonces ellos son, mexicanos que viven en los Estados Unidos.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
You sound like you were actually you have Mexican heritage, but you were born and raised in the United States.
That is correct.
Okay.
I'm American Mexican.
Okay.
Weird.
You call it whatever you want. It's all
I'm
you.
Latina.
Yeah, you're Latina.
Soy Latina.
¿Quién no, right? Everyone loves it when they pelirrojo, loco, ojos azules, grandote.
I'm a very pale Latina.
Yeah. Who isn't? I've been a pale Latino for a long time. So,
where are you from?
born and raised Las Vegas, second generation.
Both of us, yeah.
And my genealogy is Irish English, 50-50. Straight down the line.
Very, very cool. I'm also born and raised in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What high school?
Durango and Cerro Vista.
Oh, uptown. Uptown girl. She's living in an uptown world. Woo, woo.
Those schools.
I was born in Naked City, but I was raised in Spring Valley.
Oh, wow. Naked City's rough.
Yeah.
I know.
That's
A
rough.
little hood.
Yeah. That is truly the hood. A lot of people in Vegas don't know about Naked City.
I think she was actually born at the hospital. Drove through Naked City on her way home to Spring Valley.
There's no hospital through Naked City.
They could have made a diversion
Is
just
there?
for her.
It was Vegas World.
Yes.
There was no hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we both went to, you didn't go to basic, did you?
No, everyone thinks I went to basic, but everyone who knows me knows I went to Cheyenne.
Oh.
And half the students in Cheyenne went to El Dorado, came from either El Dorado or Western or out in the Northwest, or which would be like Centennial or Cimarron Memorial. And so,
Durango wasn't even around when I was in high school.
No.
That wasn't a school then.
Yeah, and then we were actually the first graduating class of Cerro Vista.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was the first graduating class of Cheyenne. When I was Cheyenne, Cimarron Memorial, and Green Valley were the first new schools in 13 years. So 3 years prior to that was Bonanza, and now there's just a buttload of them everywhere. So
yeah.
What hospital were you guys born?
I was born at a hospital that's no longer existent.
What's that?
Huh?
What hospital?
A women's hospital.
Oh, really?
Me too, Women's Hospital.
On Flamingo, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Boulder City.
Wow.
Boulder City doesn't have a maternity ward anymore. So,
So crazy.
yeah.
Well, the rocks there have special chemicals in them, so I'm sure it's for cutting down on birth defects. So.
Stop. Not in Boulder City.
Yeah.
Not in Boulder City. Henderson, maybe.
No, Boulder City.
Boulder City.
Legit, yeah.
No. It's funny. I never even lived in Boulder City. I've always lived in Henderson. I think my dad just wanted to torture my mom for a longer drive to go up there, or he had to deal with the doctor. I don't know why, but yeah, I was born in Boulder City. So,
Very cool.
yeah. So, you have a family. You have small children at home.
Correct. So I have 3 children. I have Adrian. He's about to be 6. Next week, I have Abraham. He's 3, and I have a baby that's about to be 1. So my hands are full.
Wow.
Right. So when I started La Llave, I was all for it. We were doing weekly podcasts. We're recording, 3-4 recordings a day and stuff like that. And then my son started school, and then I had the baby, and my whole world pretty much So now it went from a weekly podcast to a monthly podcast, and now it's like a
Whenever you can podcast.
whenever I can podcast. Yes.
Well,
So,
I really liked your last episode. It was right at the beginning, I think, at the quarantine. You were interviewing a healthcare worker.
Yeah.
he was my ex co-host actually.
Oh, is
Oh,
that who it
okay.
was?
Yes.
We wasn't sure if it was co-host or ex-boyfriend, so
No, we didn't think that at all.
that's what you told me in the text.
I did not say that. I did not say that at all.
Now he's backtracking. I apologize, Joelle. I apologize.
No.
No, it's okay. We actually have a breakup episode where we told our audience why we're, going our separate ways and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, really?
We're boyfriend and girlfriend, but it wasn't a working relationship.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Oh, I guess you were right.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Anyways, no, but I really liked the episode. You guys were talking about, some of the challenges he was going through in the hospital and the people that were working for him, cleaning stuff up, doing that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was, I like how you start your podcast on a very positive note, and just like you said, there is a lot of negativity, a lot of false information, and especially during this quarantine stuff, there's so much crap out there that people are grabbing onto. The guy we just had in the studio before your show, we had a certified therapist in here talking about the same thing, and you really got to be careful and cipher through a lot of that negative stuff. So that's why I really like finding your podcast of the positivity that you guys really put out there. So
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and like I was saying in that episode, I try to not really listen to the news so much.
mhm.
I do hear and I do like watch it here and there, just be in the loop of everything. But as far as that, logging into watching it every day, I don't. Like I try to just surround myself with positivity. Not only that, but I need to keep myself calm in order to keep my home and my children calm as well. So
Absolutely. So how's
everyone around me was like freaking out. So I'm like, let me get a podcast. Let me get an episode out really quick.
so how was the quarantine with your family? Yeah, I'm assuming you had a couple kids in school, so they had some like online schooling.
Well, we have a little quarantine crew going on. So it's my husband, myself, my brother, and my parents. My parents and my brother are in the hotel industry, and
Okay.
they got laid off. They were the first ones to get laid off. So, which worked out perfect for me because now I have full-time nannies, and my brother he's been doing all the homeschooling for my son.
Oh, okay.
So I really can't complain. Quarantine has been wonderful to me. My husband and I are still working, and my parents and my brother have just stepped up and helped us a lot with the kids.
Oh, wow.
And so where do you and your husband work?
So my husband, he's a civil engineer,
Oh, great.
and like I said, I work for accounting.
Yeah, you work accounts
in the hotel
payable.
industry, but so yeah, I'm working from home. My husband still has to go out into the field. But yeah, we're just taking it day by day. I'm just trying to be positive about everything. We have no control over it, so I'm just making the best out of it. I'm like bonding with everybody. Like I've never spent so much time with my brother because we've always had different schedules. Same with my parents. One parent works graveyard, the other one swing. I've always worked day shift, and now their schedules are free, so they get to see a whole lot more of me.
Definitely taking advantage of the time, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm bonding with them so much. I'm connecting. Even with my children, I have that extra time now. I can go to the gym, so that's keeping me more at home. And on my lunch breaks, I get to spend time with them, and it's been great. I've been trying to get the best out of this whole experience.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that therapist said is how important it is to communicate with other people, and how did he say it? Like he didn't like the word social distancing.
Yeah.
It should be called physical distancing. Anytime ever we should be more social is right now with our family and friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we have this technology, like use it. There's FaceTime, there's Zoom calls, there's house party apps. There's so much going on that you can still use to stay connected.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we even did. My son was really insistent on it, so we did Fortnite had a concert with 5 DJs.
My kids did that too.
Nice.
And yeah, I did it too. We had it on 2 TVs, rocking it out. So, and yeah, that was cool. Well, what about your audience, Joy? How are you? Let's talk about communicating. How are you communicating best with your audience? Like, what do they want to? What do they want to hear?
So, like I mentioned, I thought I had to bring up that episode to shine some light.
Yeah.
During quarantine, and thanks to that episode, I got a lot of emails. People like telling me what they were going through, what they were feeling, and that's really how I connect with my audience through emails.
Awesome. Now, where was I going to go for the next question? I don't know. It's been a long day. So,
you guys are badass. You guys have been doing back-to-back recordings.
yeah. So we try to book it most in one day, as much as we can, because I mean, he's a realtor, and I work construction, and we both are still very busy. And we also have families. I have 7 children. Yeah. How many kids do you have?
Just 3.
I'm just joking.
And I'm complaining about 3.
Yeah, Joel, I only have 3 too. And so, yeah, Adam's like, well, no matter what, I got more kids.
I don't say
you
that
had to
like
teach
that.
one. You had to teach like 3 kids. I had to teach like every grade, and I have to do like college prep for one.
So.
I was doing college prep with a kindergartner.
Oh,
I
dude.
had all these projects going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was crazy.
It was crazy. My poor wife, she's worked very hard. And it's funny, I have 3 in high school, a junior high, and then some elementary kids. So I had 6 of my 7 kids in 6 different Zooms, 6 different classes, going all the time. But my oldest is a senior this year. So she has really kind of struggled through this. And something we put together is that she's also a 9/11 baby. So she was born that year, and then this is their graduating class.
That's crazy.
So it's kind of like this. So I've kind of teased with her, like saying, well, I don't know what to tell you. I guess your life's just going to suck.
Yeah.
I mean, you came into the world at a tough time. You're graduating at a tough time. But
you have to look at the bright side of things.
Oh,
Me, I'm so excited because my son's birthday is next week. So I just saved a bunch of money on a birthday party.
Right.
A birthday party, and all we're doing is a little drive-by parade,
Yeah.
which is perfect. The child still feels special, and I save a lot of money. And my 1-year-old, well, she's 12 months. She'll be a year in June. So I'm like, yeah, I get to save on another birthday party.
right on.
So I'm just trying to look at the best out of all of it.
Oh yeah, and that's what I try to tell her. This is something you're always going to remember for the rest of your life, you know. And I think the school is still going to do something. They don't have a concrete date exactly when they're going to do it. All my kids go to a charter school, so I think, and this senior class is the first graduating charter school class in Southern Nevada. So this is the first senior year. So they're not going to just let this go and like mail diplomas in the mail. They're going to do something. They're just going to have to wait until they're able to open up and actually get in there and actually do something.
And something else I want to say too, Joel, is it's been really pretty awesome with our podcast and his daughter graduating this year. Is he has brought some great perspectives for some of our guests, because now he's asking them questions as a dad of a child who's graduating, who, you know, is getting into possibly the labor force, or, hey, what careers are out there for her? And so that has been actually exciting for me, because he brings that like fresh perspective. And then like some of our guests are like, they're like, hey, no one ever asked us about that. Like we just had a pilot on, and to talk about how he got into aeronautics, and what excites him is why he got into that industry. And I didn't know this guy loved aeronautics as well. So it was like cracks me
Kind of
an
forced
egg.
upon me.
Yeah. And so, but that's like a benefit. So when you talk about, you know, your kids, you know, it's obviously part of our podcast. How does your husband deal with you having a podcast? Because I know for my wife and his wife, that's always been a struggle. It does help increase our listenership, because our wives always listen.
My wife doesn't listen at all.
Oh, really? My wife listens to every podcast. And that way, there's always a little knife hanging out there. Like, hey, did you say something wrong?
Yeah.
Did you put some shade on someone that? Because sometimes I can be quick-witted about things, or Adam and I can get to be.
He says
normal.
quick-witted, but he means crossing the line. That's what he means.
Right. Yeah. My husband's really, really supportive. And I am like, who you see is what you get. Like, whatever I feel, I say it. Whatever my mood is that day, that's the mood that you get on the podcast. And he loves me just the way I am. Even before, when I had a co-host, people would ask me, does your husband ever get jealous because you spend so much time with George? And George would come over the house all the time because, our studio was here.
Mhm.
And no, my husband's just been really supportive this whole time, He's my rock. Like, whatever I can't get done, like technical stuff, he does it for me.
Nice.
I just bring my personality. He does everything else behind.
Oh, wonderful.
He recruits the guests. He sometimes reply to our listeners' emails, and he's really supportive. He's really good. Like, right now, he's downstairs with all 3 of the kids.
Sounds like a keeper. Keeper. We're really supportive. So for us, Joelle, and the reason I lead into that is, so originally that's what the basis of our podcast was going to be. Like, hey, we're going to have a manly podcast for men to discuss men's issues. And
that was the idea at the beginning.
That was the idea at the beginning. And it's melted into this, what we have today, where we have men and women and coming in. Like, one of our biggest episodes was bringing in a divorced couple talking about co-parenting. And we got a lot of interaction with that. And now we have some guests that are from the entertainment industry. We just had Las Vegas' original rock band Hemlock on, and we've got a lot of activity from that. And that was a blast of an episode. And so, and we're starting to develop some regular guests that we want to do on like a monthly basis. Do you have any regular guests that you rely on and that have really moved you forward?
When I first started the podcast, I wanted to start with friends and family that I felt comfortable reporting with, just so I can kind of get, comfortable with the idea of recording. I couldn't even stand my voice at first on the podcast. And everybody I would invite to the podcast would tell me, like, what do I have to offer? I'm just any other person. Like, I'm not inspiring. And then once they get on the mic and we start talking to them, like, their stories are like out of this world. Mm-hmm. So, like, I always tell people, like, everybody has a past, everybody has a story, everybody has a journey, and, like, anybody can be inspiring. And that's, like, the beauty about a podcast, Like, so many, like, people come on and with, like, totally different lifestyles, and they have so much to offer to the episode, right?
Yeah. Well, that's something that we found. One of the biggest joys in starting the podcast was the people we get to meet, and we can hear their stories. But we noticed this magic of the microphone. The minute we hit record, we've had a couple experiences that we've had that people just completely opened up, and they share these really intimate, personal stories about their childhood or their life. And some of them were very tear-jerking. Some of them were inspiring. We had a fighter on, and he says he never really talked about it, but until the microphones came on, he talked about his personal feelings about his dad dying when he was young, and how that led to kind of crime, but then led to his fighting career. And it was just a real inspirational story to hear. So that's kind of the magic of this, is people want to tell their story, and you're giving them a platform to do it. And it's amazing what comes out of it.
It's amazing because when I started, I wanted to have this platform to inspire other people, to help other people out there. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, my guests were helping me. They were, with their stories, they were inspiring me. They were helping me. Like, they were changing my life. So it's been such a blessing to have this podcast.
Where do you want to? So, Joelle, in thinking about the future, is where do you see La Llave in the future? Like, do you want to discuss, like, we were talking about your heritage as a Latina. Right. Is that a voice that you want to expand on? Where do you see La Llave pointing in the future? Like, what can we expect from La Llave?
I just want to continue impacting and helping lives. When I first started, it started like a fun project. My co-host George, he was single, living the bachelor life, and I was married with kids. So we combined both lifestyles, and we kind of made comedy out of it while, inspiring our audience with our guests. But then my podcast kind of went into a different direction as to like all my guests were women telling their stories. So it got to a point where my co-host couldn't really relate to our topics anymore. He couldn't really relate to the podcast anymore. So I don't know, to answer your question, I don't know exactly what direction the podcast will go. I feel like every season that I have, it's like different guests. It's a different vibe, So I just want to continue. I just want to see where it goes. I want to continue bringing in amazing people that'll inspire and help other people, and just see where it goes.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, I would love to be a host on a television show one day. So maybe my La Llave will get me there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The fun thing about it, this all, we came up with an idea, we decided to go for it, and it's just kind of have morphed into what we have now. And it's been a lot of fun. I would like to see, to reverse that question to us, but like, I would love to see this podcast get to a point where we're interviewing, we want to keep it here in Southern Nevada and keep it growing here, but get it to a point where we interview some big people here.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when people want to hear something about Las Vegas, big sports stars, big entertainment stars, big people like that, and enhance our interviewing skills. I'll be honest, like
your podcast, tuning into your podcast, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
You want people to automatically think of tuning into your podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think on this very similar theology as well is we look for those stories in people, and I think that's what we turn into is, we thought we'd be giving, we find, dads that were doing great things, and we did, and we do, but now we also have so many other stories within those, and so many relevant topics. And, you talk about like most of your guests were turning into women. We're finding we actually have a lot of women love to listen to our show. And so now we cover more broader strokes and more broader topics. And it actually, I think, has helped balance us out in totality. And
not only that, not only your guests, but also as your lives change, you guys will also be inspiring other people, through your journey. There was a time where my husband and I were very disconnected, and I shared it on the podcast. People were like, oh, I love your relationship. I love your marriage. I love to have what you have. And I'm like, no, listen, this is what we're going through. There's no ideal situation. And by me opening up about my life and my relationship, I was also able to help a lot of people.
yeah, absolutely.
Like, we have this platform. We have to use it to help others.
Yeah.
We have to.
And I think that's a basis for our podcast as well, as we love to, we're serving the community. And I think that's what Adam was alluding to is, we're trying to invest a lot of, some of the capital. And when we say that, it's not always just money. We're talking about time. We're talking about effort. We're talking about, and trying to get our messages out there. And that's what I love about, our guests is I always pitch it as, hey, let me help you. We've got a platform. We want to get your message out there. And we're getting better at it. Like every time it's like hitting the gym, we're trying to do better preludes. So.
Yeah. And then the further I got into the podcast, I had like all these amazing people on it. It was crazy. It was like I was meant to meet them, and they were just meant to be a part of the podcast. It was crazy. It's like the more you dedicate time into the podcast, like you just start meeting all these people. Like, I feel like the podcast really opened a lot of doors.
Oh yeah, and we've noticed that as our Instagram and some of our social media accounts are slowly growing and getting more and more listeners and more people out there. It is a lot of fun. Do you do most of your interviewing with Zoom, or do they come to your house, or it kind of split amongst both?
Right. The first year it was all people coming to the studio.
Okay.
To my home.
Mm.
I liked having that one-on-one, face-to-face interaction with my guest. And it was just fun. We started off with we would drink and, to calm my nerves, but it kind of made it feel like it was a drinking show. But it was really for me. And then when my co-host moved to Texas, we were forced to do Zoom.
Mm.
And that's when I kind of started doing the Zoom calls. But do I prefer one-on-one? I do. I feel like the connection is just different. The vibe is different. But now that we're interviewing people from other states, Zoom is the best option to go.
Oh, absolutely. And man, I mean, we would like to keep it focused here in Southern Nevada, but opening it up to other people out there is definitely.
Well, we have some guests coming up that are from different states.
Yeah.
And originally, because they used to visit here all the time. And now that we're starting to develop more like Zoom meeting, about broadcasts like that. So we're going to have a broadcast coming up about direct to consumer. Adam was talking about social media. And so we have one of our guests who owes us some swag.
We've been plugging them for a while. We haven't gotten nothing.
Yeah. But the great thing is he is his whole business is centered or was centered around until they got some corporate contracts around direct to consumer. So the ads that you see on Instagram and Facebook, that was the basis of their company. They just got 3 huge corporate contracts, and now they're trying to fulfill those contracts. He's like, they're still doing DTC, but it was great hearing with him. I wish we were recording it when he was in town, of the DTC industry. And because I think all of us don't realize we actually participate in the direct to consumer economy. And a lot of times we don't realize it. They're like, oh yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Oh, I saw that on Facebook. Well, really what you're seeing, and if you're buying directly from that producer, you're actually producing in a whole different, new industry category. And that's another great thing about the podcast is, this is even one of my close friends from college, and to know what he's at, to actually know that that's an industry now was actually pretty interesting. And, and then even we just had Dr. Chad, and we're going to have Dr. Chad on a regular basis. He talked about stem cell therapies. It was great because you've heard that all the time when we talk about sports, and we're talking about how some of these mega athletes, stay in shape, and you hear these buzzwords and you think as a recreational athlete, oh man, if I could afford some of those therapies, man, I'll be playing pro too. Dr. Chad got in and went, popped the balloon, and he's like, no, Eric, you lost that many years ago. So, but yeah, we share some of those same experiences.
You take something with you from each one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you learn a lot, and your friends are starting to learn a lot about you. I mean, I've noticed when I go to work, a lot of my buddies will listen to the podcast and they don't know. I share a story and they never knew that about. I shared some.
Same here. Julie, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, that's me. That's me. So sometimes I'm kind of happy if my husband doesn't tune in too much. I think he hears enough when you're around the house. He doesn't have to tune into me while I'm at work. But and I think people love to hear when you're real. If you're real, people love it. People would always ask me, hey, do you write down a sketch of what you're gonna say? Do you have notes? I'm like, no. I just start recording, and whatever happens, like you said, when we turn on the mic, the magic happens, and I let it go.
So our first episode was recorded in the microphone right in this laptop. We didn't have anything else. And it was in his kitchen, and you can hear the kids getting ice out of the refrigerator in the back.
Oh, you're supposed to go in the closet.
I'm not going in the closet with this guy.
Yeah.
Did you guys try that going under a blanket together?
No.
Anyways,
Joelle, yeah, this is not confession hour, and no blankets, no closet for him and I. I see what you're trying to insinuate, Joelle.
Hey, for the love and the passion of the podcast.
Yeah. No,
we didn't have it then. We were just trying to break into it. But it was one of our most popular episodes because it was so raw and it was so real. And what we talked about was that week when we started it, Macayo's just closed here in Las Vegas. And we had a great debate because both of us growing up here, I never really liked eating there. He loved eating there.
Like it was a family tradition. I know it's embarrassing to be in the same room with him, right, Joelle? You're like, you didn't like Macayo's?
Wait.
I never really go to Mexican restaurants anyway.
Macayo's isn't really Mexican.
It's not. That was the point I was trying to make.
I can just go to my grandma's house and have that food for free. So.
Right?
Joelle, come on, stop. Tell me, you went to Macayo's.
I did go a few times. I didn't really care for it.
Thank you.
Oh, what a sweet
Dude,
talk.
I would high five you right now.
I'd rather have the chimichanga from Roberto.
It's not about the entrees. It was, so as a kid, you got the TCT, and that was special. And then as an adult, dude, I would pound those chips and salsa, which is also free. Yeah, absolutely.
Or no, we always went to the one on was it Trop?
Yeah, Trop
over by UNLV.
Maryland.
Yeah.
And then before Rebel games, when we moved out to the south side and I had a family and I would take the family to Rebel games, we would go to Macayo's beforehand. And now I'm a little bit of a social butterfly, so of course going to Macayo's is like going to Costco for me. Ooh, what's up? Ooh, what's up? It's like a little pregame. So
yeah, but nonetheless, we had a fantastic conversation about it. We talk about how the way we ate as a child affects the way we eat as adults. And so I was
just thinking that during quarantine.
Yeah, so we opened up about it, and I even talk about my parents' divorce. I was raised by my dad, and my dad was not a very good cook. So he burned everything. And even to this day, I love all my food overcooked. I turn my toast all the way up to the end. I want it right before a hockey puck.
This is why we had a therapist on. He has issues.
But nutritionist, that's what you need.
Yeah. A therapist and a nutritionist, yes.
Yes. I was just thinking that because now that my mom's cooking every day, I'm like, oh my God, they cook with all this grease.
Oh, that sounds great.
All Coke, all soda. I'm like, oh my God. I remember growing up, my dad's like, I'm gonna diet. I'm gonna eat all cup of noodles. Like that was his diet.
That was the diet?
Like that's so filled with sodium.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like the first month, I was eating with my mom's meals every day, and like I was gaining like all this weight. I'm like, I need to stop.
Yeah.
I can't continue to do this. But yeah, like growing up, we ate so horrible.
Well, but we learned from that first episode that a real episode, like, get away from trying to be perfect, saying every word perfect, saying every sentence perfect.
Exactly.
People can relate to like a real conversation, just like they would if you were at work or at the bar or at a sports game. They can relate to that. If they want perfection, they can tune into one of the big news networks or anything else, but to get real conversations. So then we did away with trying to be 100% perfect. And the main thing we keep working on is kind of like perfecting our audio to make it sound as best as we can. I mean, we don't work. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We will take any tip that we can. But anyways, we've learned a lot. I mean, yeah. It's been a fantastic opportunity and fantastic experience, and I'm kind of completely hooked. And once again, I am grateful. I do spend a lot of time away from home with my work alone, and then we try to work in these Tuesday nights where we do back to back, so we're not here every night of the week,
Yeah, and the more you do it, it's like everything. Like practice makes progress. The more you do it, the easier it'll get to edit. The easier it'll get to do everything. So.
Awesome, man! This has been a fantastic visit with you.
Don't forget how much I love it. until I start doing it again. I'm like, oh, I can just talk for hours.
Okay,
And
so
they'll be, God, you're always laughing like a hyena. And I'm like, I'm not changing that. That's who I am.
are you saying there's going to be another episode out here soon?
Yes, of course. Yes.
All right.
And I'd love to have you guys on my podcast as well.
Anytime.
Pero
Cuando quiere. Díganos cuándo.
va a ser todo español.
Okay, está bien.
Sure. I'll be here. I'll be just the pretty face. How's that?
We'll take care of your positive energy.
Yeah.
We'll take something.
So, how long have you guys had the podcast?
Since October, desde septiembre, octubre de el
Yeah,
año
September.
pasado.
Yeah.
Oh, September?
Yeah, not even a year.
Your podcast will be successful. That's a great month to start a podcast.
Yeah. You talk about growth too. It's like we started off feeling like, you know what, we don't want to burden anyone. Like, doing more than like one podcast a week. And now we have some momentum, we have a rhythm, we're getting repeat guests in, we're talking about, which allows us like deeper conversations and a follow-up conversation so we can, continue these talks along. And I feel like that's where we're bringing a lot more value. It's not just a light touch now, where we can actually kind of dig in a little bit and start getting into some more meat, as opposed to, oh yeah, we saw the pretty skin on top, that looks good in the sugar case, but what's really inside. And so
yeah, and the more you start talking about topics, the more you find that stuff and topics need to be, addressed and talked about. And the more you start recording, the more comfortable, like you're not as scared of burning people or burning like stuff like that. You get comfortable. People love that.
Oh yeah.
People feel it through the mic. They can hear it through the mic.
well, Joelle,
Don't be scared. Be yourselves. Be free. Inspire the world.
Inspire the world. I love it. So Joelle, it's been great having you on the podcast. We can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Estamos muy emocionados para estar contigo. So
It's amazing to collaborate with other people from Las Vegas. I love my city so much.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the people in it. And it's great to, meet you guys and collaborate. I hope we can do a lot more projects in the future together.
sounds good.
Absolutely. We would love that.
All right, Joelle, we'll see you soon.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Take care, you guys.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
No.
Let me just stop the recording.
Right there, yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I was going to ask her something.
We'll do it often.
No, she's stopping the recording.
I stopped the recording.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
still here.
I
Can you
know.
see me?
No,
No, it's just a
bunch of
picture.
kids. There's
Yeah.
like 4 kids.
A
and
very
you.
nice family.
Oh, I guess that's your
That's her
husband.
family.
He's so young.
4 kids.
She picked him up out of junior high or
Here's the
something.
kid.
So,
Okay, shoot me your email. I'll email you the recording.
okay.